Hi there. Good evening. Welcome to another session of the Gooner Booth. We are doing the Everything Arsenal podcast. There's a lot that's happened during the week. Some injury news and some potential transfer news. Wayne, hand over to you to get us started.
Yeah, good evening, Tone. Yeah, we have it's been quite a busy day, mate. I want to start with someone that could be sort of like an addition to the first team. Obviously, we've lost him so many times over the course of his career with Arsenal, but he always ends up being a new signing at some point. Gabby Jesus, on his own personal social account at a 45 odd second, 45, 47 second, doesn't matter, but it's 40 odd seconds, mate, of him training, going through the cones, touching the ball back on the grass. So we cut that.
Which is good. Yeah.
Um, Obviously, that's a question I'll pose to you as well. But today on the timeline is again the people I follow. You can have it extends from respectable people to chatting out their backside. So you can get an in between that is halfway there and telling the truth, and the other one that's telling So you have to kind of go through a lot of looking online to see if these guys are legit or not. But someone said that apparently has come out a bit of this evening. There could be a potential that Gabby Jesus, as much as he is back on the grass. My question to you was, would he be useful? But I just wanted to say to you as well that please come back to that. But it could. There's potential. Someone said about him going on a loan, and for us to get him some game time if he when he comes back. But that's just again something that's just come up, Tone. One that's going to be, I think, a bit of a relief, and we'll move along from Jesus. Saka, we had some semi decent news. It's not a long term and as bad as his last one,
Yeah.
but he's out for only a month, 3 to 4 weeks. Personally, Tone, this is why you sign a player like Madueke. It's also as well that you've got a like of Eze, Trossard, Martinelli at the moment. You've got Wanyeri as well that can cover. So I think obviously this is why you develop a big squad, so you don't struggle with this. Saka's you know, come on, Tone. How long's that guy been carrying our attack
Yeah.
for absolute year? So it's good to have some backup. But yeah, it's one of them where when he comes back, you don't have to rush him out. That's what I'm getting at. You don't rush him back. Sorry. We've got Madueke there, and you can kind of put him on the bench if you like to say you need to rest it. We get him coming back, and we can bring him on and ease him back in again. A loss, but I think we have got the cover. So yeah, we've got a couple of transfers, Tony, if I may bend your ear for a bit, guys.
Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, we had a rather funny thing developing on my timeline. So of course we all know about Eze. We won't go into that. We're not here to rub salt in wounds. But again, I had in there was a thing come up about a guy called Piero, if I've said that right, Piero Hincapi. He's a Bayer Leverkusen centre half slash left back who can be marauding at times. He's happy he can defend. He plays centre back, but he's played a bit further forward for Bayer Leverkusen. And a morning Fabrizio Romano on the timeline on X said that Tottenham were looking to do a loan deal and then pay the 60 million with an obligation basically at the end of the season. And then barely an hour later, David Ornstein's couple of tweets come out on my feed again saying Arsenal are in negotiations with him and Hincapi wants to come to Arsenal. Doesn't want to negotiate. And you think to yourself, here we go.
Berta's taking the piss this year, isn't he?
And it is exactly Tone. So, they obviously Tottenham were interested in paying his with that 60 million, by the way, is his release clause.
Yeah.
So obviously Tottenham, by the sounds of it, had a chat saying we're interested. Can we loan him? Do what we did with David Raya, basically, because obviously we're trying to help with PSR. Maybe they're trying to get a bigger transfer in because they've been trying all summer. Um, but yeah, we've come in and he's basically said I want Arsenal. So we're not negotiating at that. So again, I don't know if we're trying to do the same as they did, but maybe we're going to obviously try to get it lower. He's apparently told his agent, this is Berta Tone, by the way, but he tells he tells the guys who's like, same with Jokeres, same with, look, if you want to come, that's why Sesko didn't come because his agent wasn't willing to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we know what happened with Jokeres. I won't go into that. Every Arsenal fan knows, but he goes to the agent. Look, it basically lets them do the work. Tell your club if he's interested. They talk to him, they get him interested, and I think that's what they've done here. So they get the agent to try and drop the price down with the main club. So it's one to watch. I think it's to be fair, mate. There's another thing come out as well, not far from before we went online that he's agreed a 5-year deal with us. Again, that happens all the time. Eze had agreed a deal. It always comes up wages first. Same with Jokeres. So yeah, that's one to watch, mate. He's why we're signing. There could be some people confused. Others have seen it anyway, but what we've heard, Tone, and as you know as well, we've spoken about. I think this means that Kivior is definitely off. There's no guarantee that Sinchenko will leave, mate. They've said, but it could enable that. Obviously, we'll have the 8 again, but it depends on Arteta because obviously he still likes him. Same with Jesus. So obviously it could be just he's on 150, isn't he? 150k or something, Sinchenko.
Yeah,
So
he's on a lot of money.
it's just a
Yeah.
lot of money, Tone. Yeah, and just to try and wrap it up and pass that on to you, my friend. Now, there's also just if I may, just a couple more. Nelson to Fulham. There's a few people saying that's picking up. Whether you think it's good, and please, obviously,
Is that's a loan deal, right?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, please let what people know. I'll explain what's going to happen, mate. Obviously, you know, Nelson is apparently going to go on loan, but there's an obligation. So we'll get a small loan fee, which happens with all these deals. They'll cover his 100k wages, which Edu put him on, by the way. And he wasn't even a first choice player at the time. He was picked, but not often. He weren't going to be in either of that Martinelli or Saka. But Edu decides to put him on a 100k deal. But we'll leave that there. So basically, they're going to cover that loan fee, and apparently it's going to be 14 million obligation. So it's going to work out. I think it's 3.5 mil loan deal, and at the end of the contract, end of the loan, sorry, period of 1 year, they'll pay the 14 million. So apparently 17 and a half out of that deal.
Okay.
That's the rumor, dude. I'll quickly, swiftly move on to say that apparently Vieira's not going through, so we'll have to wait and see. I think that could go down to that, but again,
That'll
because
probably be a
Kivior's,
loan.
it could be a loan deal. They're talking about Porto and
Yeah.
Kivior, by the way. We're in negotiations with Porto with in regards to. I think Bert is trying to obviously get as much money as he can, which is fair enough. I'm hoping it's not a loan, Tone. The fee's not massive. Um, um, what I'd like to say, guys, as well, people will know my 60. When I'm saying about 60 million release clause, they say 60 million euros for that Hincapi. So obviously work that out in British pounds, matey. But yeah, I won't go on about it because I'm going to pass on to you. I can give any details later on, matey, but just going to get your thoughts on it now. And I've got a few more stuff I've written down I'm going to let you talk and I'm going to take a breath.
No, no worries at all. Yeah. So I think just backtrack a little bit. Jesus, back in training. The question you posed to me, and I'll just throw it down there. Can we use him?
Mm.
So I think I think eventually he's going to be sold.
Yeah, I
Um,
think 100%.
but
Yeah.
but with I'll get onto Havertz in a minute as well. But going by what the extent of his injury potentially could be, I've seen news outlets saying that he's potentially 3 to 4 months. I've
Mm.
read another news outlet saying that there's a fear that it could be an ACL, which is
Mm.
the whole season. I think that's been sort of ruled out now. So I think it's a couple of months. Um, I think I think Jesus can still do a job for us, fully fit. I would
No, I
say that.
agree. I agree. Yeah.
And what's the harm in having that quality come off the bench?
Yeah.
You
Especially with
um,
Havertz out time, if
yeah,
he's out long term.
I think strength in depth isn't a bad thing, right? And that's one thing we've never had, for a lot. I think for the last 5 years, you can't honestly say to me, you know, Saka getting injured last season was an absolute nightmare because we was all sitting there going, well, who's going to play on the right?
Yeah.
Ranieri's not a winger. Yes, he done a great job for us, but now you're looking at him going, Madueke had a good game on Saturday, and he shut me up a little
Mm.
bit, must admit.
I did
But
tell you.
yeah, yeah, he did shut me up. And fair play to the guy. If he starts on the right, you know,
Mm.
last season we would have been having a meltdown because Sterling would have been the option to go on that side,
Yeah.
and so I'm a little bit more optimistic. I know it's early on, so it's probably if he was to get injured, then early on probably it would be preferred. I know he's missing Anfield. It's been confirmed that Saka will miss the Anfield game.
Yeah.
I still think Madueke could do a job. Obviously, we've got Eze will be coming in. Where he plays, I do not know.
Yeah.
But the fact that Saka's injured, maybe Madueke goes on the right, Eze goes on the left. That's how I'd
Yeah.
see it. If Odegaard, he's a doubt. But they
Yeah.
reckon that there's a very high chance he'll be fit for the Anfield game. But the beauty we have now is we need to risk him? If we don't
Mm.
need to risk him, you've got Eze in the team now, who
100%.
can
Yeah.
definitely do a job in the number 10 role.
Yeah.
Who's better in that number 10 role? That's for the season to decide. At this
Yeah.
moment in time, I think Odegaard gets the nod
Yeah.
slightly over Eze. I think purely because of what he's done so far. Yes, he wasn't great last season, but yeah, I think Eze on the left would still do a job because he would tuck in with Odegaard. So it's
Mm.
exciting times, really,
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah.
our attacking. So this is probably the first time in the world that we've lost you know, Saka's easily one of the best right wingers in the world in world football for me.
Yeah.
Um, the fact that he's injured, then we're okay. Well, we've got backup now. It's actually, it's I reckon the fact that we're stronger in that area should help keep us in the title running. I'm talking second game in.
Mm.
People go, oh, like fuck me, he's optimistic already. But you have to be right. You have to be,
Yeah.
and I think the squad that we've got is really good. And I was reading news reports. Obviously, you haven't mentioned this. I don't know if you've read any news reports that Rodrigo isn't off the table.
Um.
The deal for Rodrigo isn't off the table. It's not been ruled out. Well, I've not read anywhere saying that Arsenal we're still linked with him. There's nothing formal has happened, but
Mm.
I do think there's a consideration there. And the fact that Martinelli didn't start or come off the bench at all against Leeds
Yeah.
tells a story there because in the pecking order, surely Martinelli is ahead of Trossard.
You would think. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so back to I think Jesus can definitely do a job for us. I
Yeah.
do think he will. Yeah, I don't think he'll go this summer, but I do think that he'll probably be looked to be sold in the January window.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. I think he'll have to. We would have to use him to create some sort of value for him.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
but yeah, I think in
Excuse
January.
me.
No ways, it's a late night. And in January, I think that yeah, it's more of a market to sell him. But who
Yeah.
knows? Touch wood. Jokeres could pick up a knock. And we need to jump on him. So
Oh.
um, yeah. Um, so I think the fact that we've lost Saka, there's a lot of squad depth there. I don't. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to be a massive loss. You'd want him to go to Anfield with him, so you fully fire him. But I'm a little bit more. I'm not as panicking as I would be, say, a year ago or 2 years ago. So
Yeah. Exactly, mate.
let's see
Yeah.
how we fare with that. Yeah. Had the Havertz injury as
Mm.
well. We're still waiting for the official confirmation from Arsenal on how long that's going to be, which worries me a little bit in the sense that
Yeah.
you know I've read it somewhere. Is it an ACL? It's been ruled out. It's a couple of months, but they still haven't announced it. That's where the worry comes in.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and normally with these long-term injuries, the assessments take a lot longer. In what I've seen, I'm not a physio in any shape or form, but
No.
normally the pattern works that they don't announce stuff quick enough because they're still going through checks. We definitely know it's his knee,
Mm.
and I think he's had to. I mean, you sent me something earlier, Wayne, with he said he's been having problems with the joints, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Suffering
All
from
the
concussion.
cartilage in that tone. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's obviously yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll see what happens on there. I'm hoping by this week we should get the answer we need on Havertz. I do think that I reading on the point of Havertz, reading some of the outlets and the news,
Mm.
the sign of Eze wasn't because of Havertz getting
No.
injured, you know,
No.
which tells me that we might not be done yet.
Mm.
So the, you know the problem that we might have, it's a good problem to have, is I'm sitting there going, where the hell does everyone play when fully fit?
Yeah,
You know? So, but yeah, I think the transfer talk, again, it's, we've we've hijacked a centre back move for Tottenham.
yeah, yeah. Again,
Um, I think Berta's on a wind up, if I'm being, and I think he's either trying to get the Arsenal fans on board, but he's doing a really great job if he is, because they're loving this at the moment.
they
Everything
are. They
they're
are.
hijacking every single thing Tottenham are doing. Um, I I think that I wouldn't be surprised if they go in for Rodrigo because they're going to have to make a statement this transfer window. I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Who else are we being linked with? Have you seen anything in the news?
Um. Yeah. I mean, going back obviously to Rodrigo. Yeah, it won't go away. There's certain things, whether you believe it or not, are still sort of like saying that we're hovering I don't know if I mentioned. It's been a long day, mate. If I mentioned about Martinelli again, um, but yeah, I think obviously that's one that's coming back up again in terms of rumours of Saudi coming in for him with a 60, 80 million bid. So yeah, it's one of them where you think to yourself, if he was to go, if potentially, as we say, would welcome Jesus back,
Yeah.
but has Berta and excuse me, Mikel Arteta got different sort of ideas? You never know, sort of thing. Like I've said before, and it's been reiterated by a few people on X that Rodrigo, is he really sort of like up there as people are saying? As he set the world alight, is he going to do that? Some people do say that and reckon, but yeah, I think there's still something in it, Tone. The guy had a bit of a hissy fit on the bench coming. He got subbed by Sabi. He started the game left wing, which everyone says is his preferred position. He come off. He was throwing his toys out the pram apparently on the bench, and there's people going, well, you know, whatever you're doing, mate. If Real Madrid don't like you, or but they're not treating you like it is, you have yourself to blame, sort of thing. One thing I want to say in a personal opinion, and one that it has been floated around as well, but if obviously this Isaac thing is not really going to go through to fruition for Liverpool, it's not going to go through to them to buying him. Could it potentially be that Liverpool go, you know what, we still need a high profile? I mean, looking at us, they done their business quite early, and we're all sitting there going, Jesus, and everyone was getting up in their aisles. Why ain't Arsenal done anything? And
Yeah.
this was in June time,
Yeah.
beginning of July. Edu, I was going to say Edu, he's long gone. Berta was setting things up, and we've seen what's happened. And obviously with Eza, as I've just recently found out, I've been saying Eze. Apparently, I think it's Eza, but I apologise for that, guys. It's such a tough name to know how you're pronouncing that.
Yeah.
But you all know what I'm talking about. That was one of them we've been after all summer, and for whatever, obviously with Tottenham, whether that triggered it, but obviously they're saying it was a phone call from Eza to Arteta saying,
Yeah. I
look,
read that. I read
yeah,
that. Yeah, that was
and
interesting.
that's what's come out. Basically, someone saying, he went, look, because as I said to you, mate, we were speaking to him, and we was interested in when Edu was in. Um, so it's one of them where we were. I don't know what was happening, but what made you worry at first when we done the deal was obviously that Havertz was injured. 4 or 5 hours later, David Ornstein's coming out saying it's like all this stuff, and you're thinking obviously the excitement, but you're like, is Havertz properly injured? So we still have to keep our fingers crossed. I'm hoping not, and I think as well, Tone, with that, I think Eze was the guy that we wanted. I think it kind of, if he got injured, maybe Josh being there kind of caught wind, and Berta and Arteta kind of said to him, look, we don't know the assessment yet, but we've
Yeah.
lost a good one today, and as him knowing the backlash from the fans, it could have maybe helped push it further because apparently there was a boardroom meeting. So yeah, matey, it's one of them. It's one of them, matey. I would say as well, before we move along. that it's just obviously dependent on say Martinelli going, but yeah, it's you've still got players there, Tone, like that's what's happening with Lakonga. There's not one jot of
Yeah,
information, Tone. So it's that's another one you can get off the books and and go towards it. We're not done. Someone said, and it's looking to fruition. And again, it's come up again, Tone. These are sources. These are people on Twitter I follow. If you talk Arsenal and you don't talk a load of bollocks, I'll follow you. If
yeah,
you start slagging someone off, I get to be. You have to be sort of, with with Arteta. He's not perfect. No one is in his life, So you have to criticize where criticism is needed. But there's some of these guys that I'll follow, and some of them are, oh, I know this, I've heard that. I say, I'll go on in and go, I'll follow you, see what you're going to do. So and they're saying one of them said between 7 to 9 new incomings, right? And if this Incapi deal goes through with Bayer Leverkusen, that's 8 ton. Obviously, Dane Eza. So watch this space. As I say as well, could could it be if say Havertz is thinking and saying that he's going to need an operation? Because by the sound of that video, it's don't hopefully sound too clever, Tone. You can't need.
no.
So
What's
if he's out, mate,
yeah,
are they going to sort of like go, all right, look, get this, let get. I'm not saying this. It could be, could be someone different. It might not even be Rodrigo, Tone. But in terms of the squad, I think what the Cronkies, what Berta, what the guys above are saying is last season cannot happen. And I want to lead in and I want you to start it because I've been waffling, but we're getting criticised as well online about the fact that we're spending. Someone pulled up that with Wenger getting us top four over the years, we were in plus 20 million. During getting the Emirates started before the
yeah,
Mesut Ozil deal. So I just want you to lead you into that as well, Tone, because again, I say it's jealousy, but like we had to watch. It turns out it was a fair thing to do. They've obviously gone. Let's try to go for the Champions League. The league's gone, but January, mate, we sat there on our text. We were frustrated, and people are we bloody deserve this. It's what last
yeah,
summer was a joke. January was a joke. We didn't sign anyone the January prior to last summer. This summer, we've got a guy coming in who's Berta, who's proving that he's an actual sporting director. He's doing deals. He's getting it done. So I just wanted to lead into that, and that's my thing for you. And I know you've got a few things, but that's the criticism from Arsenal. You got one obviously about our cringe celebration as well, which I want you to lead
yeah.
into. But what's your thoughts on that? The fact is that City have been, as they call sports washing. You've got PSG, Chelsea's done it for years. Arsenal start spending, and we ain't even spent as much as Man City this year. Yet there's people coming out saying about our spending. So just wanted to get your thoughts on that, mate, because I think it's,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
do you know what? I think
just an Arsenal thing.
being an Arsenal supporter, so I'll say that probably, isn't always easy, right?
Mm.
Because we've always went to a new stadium. We was always told that we was moving to a stadium to compete with high level teams. Your Bayern Munich's and your United, well United at the time. Your Real Madrid. All the big clubs of Europe, and we went through a stage of penny pinching. It was getting Chelsea leftovers. The days of getting Socrates. We've gone through a rough time at the Emirates, right? But also
Yeah.
we've won some trophies. FA Cups. We've won trophies throughout that period, right? Um, and I can't think of a better window since being at the Emirates
Yeah.
than this summer. Um, you know, but if you ask me to rate the window, I'd still give it a 7 out of 10. I wouldn't give it any higher, purely because we haven't sold anyone. We always sold two players for peanuts, and that's why I'm still sort of quite there. Incomings have been great. The excitement's there. A lot of our supporters are, there was a buzz in the stadium at the Emirates, which you said
Yeah.
that the atmosphere was really good. Um,
Yeah. No, what it was. Yeah, that was the.
I'll just allude to Twitter. I see something posted by a Tottenham supporter where in the upper tier it was empty seats, right? But it was
Yeah.
clearly us on a half-time break, everyone getting their drinks.
Yeah.
That was quite funny. We Yeah, I think going back to Arteta, you know, the question I'd pose to you, and
Yeah.
a lot of us supporters are opposing it now. Has Does he stay as manager if he doesn't win the trophy this season, given what we've done this summer?
Mm. Yeah, again, that is a very good. Yeah, what is quite evident. What's quite evident, mate, is the fact that he's been backed. One positive I'd say, in regards, obviously, to with no one getting sold, is that obviously we've done that deal. That by the way, just update you yourself as well, and obviously people watching. And thanks again. We really do appreciate who are watching. Carl Hein, the goalkeeper for mistake. Oh, I can't remember where he's from now. I do apologise, mate. He heads all over the place tonight, but he's not. It's not a permanent transfer. It's just a loan if they come through. So
Yeah,
I said to you I didn't know, but the club have confirmed as well. Obviously, in the last couple of days. So that adds to that. I don't know if it's got one with a 3 million purchase fee at the end. So again, looking at it, he's only sold what £10 million in terms of the other
yeah,
two, yeah, Marquinhos and Tavares. Sorry, so obviously that's 3 million that's going to be um, onto the next kind of pay, next summer. Sorry, so the club have backed him, and I've gone a long-winded way. I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm
Big
really
old
sorry.
roundabout there.
I just wanted to point out to you, obviously, what's happened, which I think is unreal, and I think fans have to look at. I mean, at the moment, obviously, this Hincapi deal looks like it's based on Kivior, and I think Kivior's going to. But we've spent 250 odd million without significant sales or sales that will help. Someone's saying that we've got comfortable like 300 million. I mean, look at Liverpool. They've obviously sold Diaz, haven't they? Unfortunately, lost
Yeah,
Jota and sold Nunes, but they could again. That's why they're saying that obviously with Isaac, I don't know if they're prepared to not go any higher, but they got the money, is what they're saying. So what for the club to do something like that, Tone, in terms of land 250 million on 7 players so far, and also looking at a player that they're willing to do it, and if we've got the financial room, but yeah, I just think that's where Martinelli comes in with it. And so to answer your question, to not keep going on about transfers because it's always in my head, it's always up here. He's been backed, is what I'm trying to get at. The long-winded way of trying to say to you that he has been backed. It's a tough one. In my opinion, with the players he's got that he's assembled, if we keep if Havertz isn't as bad, he comes back. Gyökeres touch it. Would that he stays fit. The team we have, Tone, that has to win something.
yeah,
And I think as well the second string that we have, someone was saying that's good enough to get top four and by itself. Looking at the team sheet, so for me, that's like, well, if that's good enough for top four, sure that'd be good enough for an FA Cup or a League Cup. Get something. What it is, Tony, is these players need to get that winning feeling, and obviously that's why I've always liked the League Cup and the FA Cup. Get it in, but we want to go bigger. Of course, we do. We need a Premier League with Champions League to elevate. But I just think that is what needs to happen. A win. It's a question. It's a tough one, Tone. I love the guy. I think he's always adaptable. He changes his tactics from the football he plays, but he's been backed, and I think that's where the trouble may start with fans. I won't be calling for it, but I'd have to question the fact that I personally think he's been given the tools to do the job, Tone. Would you
yeah,
agree with that, matey? Or
yeah. No, I agree. Well, I would say, you know, would Luis Enrique with this squad
mm.
win a trophy?
But that's the thing. Look, listen, Tone. Pep Guardiola as well.
Would
I think
Pep?
our team's better than Man
Would
City.
Klopp?
Klopp would. He's been given the
Even
funds.
Arsene Wenger, given the money that this sort of
You give
money
Wenger his
would he
team,
have
mate. The
taken
football
us
is
back
play.
to trophies? So
Yeah,
it's
exactly. So it's all swings and roundabouts, Tone. And I think as Arsenal fans, you have to keep that realistic approach to it. But as someone who who's always, like I say, I backed Emery. I love Wenger, but I backed him. You want him to do well, and I've backed Arteta from the hill. I like that signing, that young coach. It weren't so much you'd think, oh, maybe he's got some stylistics of Pep, but yeah, I think it's crunch time. But a proper sporting director's come in, and you have to ask yourself as well, Tone, that I get what you're saying again, and a lot of fans will say if he don't win anything, he should go. I want people to also realise as well that whether it's financial restrictions, whether it's certain players, the project was based on steps. So it was get when we was eighth, they would let's challenge at least for top four or get back into Europe at a minimum. So they signed players of that level to get them top six, if you like. Yeah, top six.
Yeah,
If you can by chance get in Champions League. Then the next year they tried to buy, So it's different stages, but as Edu let him down in the long run with the last couple of windows where we know Arsenal fans know we needed a upgrade at left wing. We needed a striker. Edu got rid of, I don't know if it's so much Arteta, Edu got rid of Smith Rowe and Vieira, who are backup number 10s to Erdegaard. Erdegaard gets injured, Tone, and then we've got to rely on either Trossard was covering. He didn't want to quite chuck Ranieri in. And you're like, well, why didn't you get Eze last summer?
yeah,
Why was Edu, so yeah, you have to question why I think, with Edu, did he really I think Edu let him down personally, or whoever at the club let him down. Because last year was the time for us to buy them players and improve it. So yeah, it's long road ahead for this season, my
yeah.
friend. I think
I-
it's going to
I've,
be enjoyable. You can strap in, enjoy yourself, Tone. It's
we certainly
something's,
will.
something's got to come.
I think I think close the show off. I think
Yeah,
one thing I do want to mention, listening to Talk Sport the other day, Jason O'Hara and sorry, Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy
yeah,
absolutely taking the piss out of our supporters because cringe FC they called us. What an absolute pile of shit.
yeah,
Um, you know, Jamie O'Hara is bitter Tottenham supporter because he lost out to Eze. And Jason Cundy, like, honestly, why can't we celebrate? We beat
yeah.
Leeds 5-0, right? Yeah, I get us Leeds. Gyökeres, like, fuck off. Seriously. Sorry for my language, but Jesus Christ.
No, we can't. It's Arsenal time. We're governed differently, mate. We can't do anything. Liverpool,
Yeah.
with Liverpool, mate, we got some fans. It's like we got to ask permission. You know.
So yeah, I think this I'm probably not going to listen to their show anyway because that really
So I don't
pisses
know
me
why
off.
you're listening. I stopped years
I mean,
ago,
normally
but
they're
no,
normally okay. But yeah,
yeah.
that you just can't you just say well done, like well done Arsenal. Fucking every
And
single chance they get, they rip into us. So
I've had a long waffle and I've let you talk, but I've just got to say, mate, that it's pure jealousy.
yeah,
I think you're every right to be peed off with them, but what it is as well, you've
yeah,
got to realise with these two is the moment they say something, any Arsenal fan, ourselves included. I've done it as well. If I've had a few beers, maybe a tipple of wine, and you're on X flicking through, and you want to say something, these are two people that want to stay relevant. Yeah. If you slag Arsenal off, Arsenal fans are going to get on it, and what happens? What you're going to click on it, you're responding, you're giving them interactions, you're keeping them relevant, and that's all they want, Tone. So I would say take it with a pinch of salt. Definitely don't watch it. I stopped watching. Sorry to waffle on. We were going to cut this. We're going to try to make a shorter show, but just to show you what
yeah.
happened with Talk Sport. I used to be driving home in my van with Talk Sport on about 4:30, and I had that ginger twat Adrian Durham saying about the Daily Arsenal and mugging Arsenal off when it was Wenger and all that. And I thought, you go yourself. You know what I mean? That's the moment
We
I
just want to
stopped.
clarify that we don't have problems with all gingers, just that one.
Just that one.
Yeah.
Just that one. But yeah, Tone. So I stopped watching them, dude. That's when I stopped. I had to say that because
Yeah, that he does rattle
he done
people.
me in. So he changed
Yeah,
it, but he done it as well because people listen to it, Tone.
yeah,
Listeners, views, it brings money in. That's
Yeah.
all these two are doing as
I
well.
just hope
Just
I hope
remember that.
we win the league just to shut them up. You
Keep
know.
your
Yeah,
receipts.
yeah,
I've
we'll
got
keep.
people at
Yeah,
work, but
it's
keep your
backing up.
receipts.
It's backing
They're
up.
stacking
Yeah,
up.
it's backing up.
No
Gentlemen
offense to
show.
Gingers, by the way, on that perfect one. Just Adrian Durham.
Um, yeah, yeah, definitely pretty phone in if we win the league, just to rub it in.
Just to rub it in, especially
Um,
the yeah, exactly.
I'll wear a clown outfit and just video call them.
Yeah, that's it, mate.
Although they should wear the clown outfit.
Yeah,
Anyway, well, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it
yeah.
there, guys. Apologies, we've gone on for longer than we wanted it to, but yeah, thank you for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. It helps the channel. It's completely free. To click them buttons. That would massively help us out. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and we will see you on the next show. Take care,
Cheers,
guys.
guys. Take
Bye bye.
care. Bye bye.